Hey, g'day folks, how you going? It's the 2020 Australia Day long weekend, and we thought we'd go away for a few days because I ended up getting the weekend off. So we thought we'd go to Denmark. That's Denmark the town, not the country. Bloody amazing. Welcome back to part 2 of our last minute trip to Denmark, the town. In our last episode we left Perth on the Great Southern Highway to head south, and we stopped at a great little overnight free camp spot called Pumphrey's Bridge. If you haven't seen that episode, then I'll put a link up the top. After a great night, we hit the road around 9:30 with a quick stop at the rubbish bins before continuing south through the towns of Narrogin, Wagen and past Katanning on our way to Denmark. We still have around 300 kilometres to go.
Time won't stop, so gonna get on the ride, twisting and turning through life. No matter how rough it gets, I'll get by. Home moves with me where I roam. It's in every dream I make my own. I'm never alone. I know that every day will always bring me something new.
By the time we get to Mount Barker, it's after lunch, and I spotted a bakery sign, so let's go and check it out. We just had to go past the bakery, do a quick U-E in the 24-hour Caltex garage, and head back to a parking spot just across the road from the bakery. Folks, I have a new top of the list on my bakery list. Mount Barker Bakery. You make the best cheese and bacon pies in WA so far that I have found, and your donuts are not bad either. From Mount Barker we head to Denmark. Denmark, I guess you could say, is where the farming stops and the forest starts. A lot of the towns down here in the southwest started out of company timber towns. And they started down here for what was to be the biggest project at the time, and that was the building of the Fremantle harbour, but that's another story. Link up the top for that video. The timber was a huge export for WA. The area was first explored by the Europeans around 1829 when WA was first settled, and a Dr. Thomas Braidwood Wilson explored out this way. Yep, that's right, a real doctor. And he named that spot after one of his esteemed colleagues, Alexander Denmark. It was a while later in 1895 before any settlers came out this way. At its height, there were 2,000 people living out here before the mill and the town closed again in 1903. The government bought the town site in 1907 from the millers, and then people could start to move back into the town. Today there are about 5,000 people living down here, and it's a pretty popular spot for holidays. We'll be staying at the Big Four Caravan Park at Ocean Beach. We'll have a look around the caravan park in another video that I'll put up later. From the centre of town, it's only about a 10-minute trip in the car to the caravan park. And from there, you're only about another 5 minutes to the beach. It's an easy drive to the beach, or you can take the 1.3 kilometre walk along the river. Along the way is a neat little lookout over the sandbar that sits where the river meets the ocean. If you're into fishing, the Wilson Inlet is supposed to be a really good place for cobbler, pink snapper, yellow-eyed mullet, sea mullet, blue mackerel, flathead and a heap of more different types of fish, so plenty to keep you happy. And if you're into surfing, swimming or just lazing around on the beach, that's covered over here. I've been down here to Denmark I don't know how many times. Generally I just drive along the highway, stop in at the local bakery because it's a pretty good bakery. I've never ever been down to any of this area like this before. This is all new to me, and this is amazing. The colour of the water here, it's so clear. You can see back at the beach there, the rocks underneath and everything. It's just like crystal clear water. It's just absolutely amazing. It just goes to show it doesn't matter how many times you go somewhere, there's always something new to see. You just got to take the time to actually go and look for it. Yeah, I was just talking to one of the locals around here. He was telling me that the estuary over there where the sandbar is, every year apparently they cut a trench in it to join the river and the ocean together. But he was telling me apparently last winter it was a pretty dry winter. They didn't get a lot of rain, and for this area down here I find that absolutely amazing. Just think that there's not a lot of rain around. But yeah, so this year they didn't dig it out to join the two together to conserve water. Denmark makes a good place to have as a base for exploring the region, and like everywhere else, the Tourist Info Centre is always a good place to start. But just for a few ideas to get you started, to the west you have the Treetop Walk, which goes up over the top and around the bottom of the last area of tingle trees in the world. A little further west is Walpole, where is a pretty neat little river cruise that, although I haven't done it, I've taken a lot of tourists there and they've all said it was great. if you continue west to the tall timber country around Manjimup and Pemberton, where you'll be able to climb an old treetop fire tower for some amazing views. Or you could take the Pemberton tramway for a run through the forest. There's heaps to do in this area. For another day trip, head east of Denmark to Albany, where you can go to Natural Bridge and the Gap. Check out the old whaling station. Then in Albany there's the Amity, which is a replica of the first boat that settled here, and the old Golem Museum are really neat. A must stop is the Anzac Centre. Hit the link above to check out the video. And there are still other things out to the east of here, like the Paronga Ups and Bluff Knoll. Or if you want to stay in the Denmark area, then get your hands on one of these books. It's full of useful info of attractions in the area. There are a number of self-drives, and we did 2 of them. The first was up over the back through the hills to a lookout, and then the other one was to the other side of Wilson Inlet. So the first one takes you up into the forest, along a great little windy road past a heap of wineries and specialty places, if you're into that sort of thing. But we're heading for a little lookout on Mount Stradforth. Well, it was a bit of a mission trying to find this place, but we got here in the end. I reckon it might have been worth the trouble. After we had lunch at the Denmark Bakery, we went off for a bit of a sticky beak down along the river's edge, just out of town. I have to say, there must be more black swans down here than on the Swan River back in Perth. Being that Albany's not too far down the road, we decided to go there for dinner. And on our way, we drove another one of those self-drives, which took us out to the other side of the inlet. I read there were a couple of lookouts and a sort of picnic area out at the point, but as we drove along we came across this. A gate across the road. Never one to go where we're not meant to be, we just turned around and headed out. When I thought about what was meant to be out there at the point, I did a little research, and I'm not sure, but I think all you needed to do was go up to the gate and push a button and the gate would open. Don't know for sure, but if you find out, let me know in the comments below. So there are a number of self-drives around Denmark. In the Denmark book, they're all listed in there, tells you all about them. And we've just done kind of 2 of them. One that went up over the back of Denmark, and then this one here come around the other side of Denmark, around the inlet, around to the other side here. And I'm surprised how big this is. I never realised it was as big as it is. It's been absolutely amazing. So pretty much that's the end of this little trip. As I said, it was only a last minute thing, so there was nothing planned. So we'll probably come back and do a proper video on Denmark somewhere else in the future, some other time in the future. So anyway, if you like this video, hit the thumbs up, and If you want to see more, there's the subscription button down the bottom down there. But until next time, happy travels.